Ambassador, thank you very much for speaking with ANI, sir. Sir, I'll begin by asking you, UAE has faced more than 1,000 missile and drone attacks. It's more than all the countries combined, the targeted countries combined. How has the UAE maintained its stability and kept life normal for its residents during this period, sir?
So the UAE's ability to maintain stability under these conditions only reflect years of investment when it comes to defense capabilities, institutional readiness, and national infrastructure resilience. And the numbers tell the story. So of 1,440 drones detected, 1,359 were intercepted. And out of 253 ballistic missiles, 233 were destroyed in the air. That is not sheer luck. This is a defense architecture built for exactly this. Essential services, including energy, water, healthcare, telecommunications, and food supply, have continued without interruption. Hotels, shopping centers, and tourism attractions remain open. I've been out and about the past couple of weeks or so. The banking sector remains sound, with total assets exceeding 5.42 trillion dirhams. Strategic food reserves cover 4 to 6 months of demand, and all of this basically is not accidental. The UAE has built a national security framework designed precisely for scenarios like this. And because that framework has held, over 4 million Indians and millions of other residents in the UAE have been able to continue their daily lives with confidence.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador, talking about India-UAE relationship now, India and UAE have a deep relationship through the SEPA and through the large Indian diaspora. How has this moment affected this relationship, and what assurance can you offer to Indian families watching from home, sir?
Well, think about what this moment has revealed to all of us. When Indian families switched on their televisions and they saw the UAE under attack, they were not watching a foreign country at war. They were watching the place where their son works, where their daughter lives, where their family has built a life. And Prime Minister Modi's response to that reality was immediate. He called His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the president of the UAE, directly, and he did that because he understood that the 4 million Indians living in the UAE deserved to know that their prime minister was personally engaged, personally watching, and personally in contact with the leadership of the country they call home. The connection between our two countries was demonstrated in the most human terms possible when His Highness, the President, visited 500 civilians in hospital, 2 Emiratis, 1 Sudanese, 1 Iranian, and 1 Indian. And His Highness sat with an Indian national and said directly, they're all our responsibility. That is the assurance Indian families watching from home should hold on to. To the mother in Kerala watching the news at midnight, to the father in Gujarat refreshing his phone, waiting to hear from his son in Dubai, let me be extremely clear. Your family in the UAE is not alone. They are safe, they are cared for, and they are considered family by the leadership of this country. The UAE's institutions are functioning, its economy is stable, and its commitment to the safety and dignity of every person on its territory is unwavering.
Ambassador, Iran has issued apologies to its Gulf neighbors, even while continuing attacks. How does UAE interpret these mixed signals, and what genuine de-escalation looks like from your perspective, from the UAE perspective, sir?
Well, to be very clear, the UAE assesses actions, not statements. What we have seen is attacks continuing despite diplomatic language, which underscores the importance of concrete and immediate steps rather than just words. For the UAE, genuine de-escalation means one thing above all. These attacks must cease immediately and unconditionally. The UAE's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity are non-negotiable. India's voice matters here, obviously. And when Prime Minister Modi calls for de-escalation and expresses India's solidarity with the UAE, that carries weight, not just because of the scale of the bilateral relationship, but because India is a country that Iran cannot afford to ignore. Now, India's engagement in calling for restraint is part of the international pressure that the UAE values and welcomes. Beyond that, the UAE calls on the international community, particularly the UN Security Council, to condemn these attacks and take the measures necessary to prevent their recurrence. The UAE reserves its full and legitimate right under Article 51 of the UN Charter to deter aggression. The UAE has chosen restraint. That restraint should not be mistaken for vulnerability. Our preference has always been and remains stability, diplomacy, and peace.